Mr. Buttigieg, if someone had told you, hey, the Democrats are going to have to change out their nominee in July, right before the convention, most people would say, that's nuts, it's not going to work out. But here the party is, and it seems to be doing okay so far. Would you recommend this every cycle?
You know, certainly an unusual year and an unusual moment. It's not often you see an American president choose to lay aside power just because it's the right thing to do. What happened next is even more remarkable. Look, the Democratic Party is not always known for quickly coming to agreement, and yet in a matter of hours, Kamala Harris really coalesced the party around her. I think because we have a shared vision, a shared vision of freedom, that includes a woman's freedom to choose, that means the economic freedoms that the Democratic Party stands for, and a vision of leadership and what it's going to be like to live in a country under her leadership compared to going back to the chaos that we experienced 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago. I just don't think most Americans want to go back to that. And I think that's part of what's propelled the amazing energy of the last month.
Why do you think former President Trump is struggling so mightily to figure out how to run against Kamala Harris?
Well, I think he has a very hard time figuring out what to do with a campaign that is not all about the candidates, but is actually more about the people. And that's one of the big themes you're going to see across the convention this week. And so what you're seeing him doing is whatever's the most outrageous thing he can do to get attention, insulting everything from black journalists to war heroes who received the Congressional Medal of Honor. It's not a normal strategy for a politician, but it could be a strategy designed to not have to talk about his unpopular policies. You can tell that they're scrambling. You can tell that they're off balance. But look, the vice president has been clear that she still very much views this as an underdog effort. We know the headwinds that we're up against. We're going to have to work for every inch of ground and earn every vote.
You mentioned Project 2025 in your speech here. Do you think that's going to connect for voters on policy? Very important, but do you think that the average voter is going to be able to connect with a policy handbook, which many people find controversial?
Look, I don't think most voters are paging through the 950 pages of Project 2025, but I think they are hearing about the policy ideas, like more tax cuts for the rich, things that are going to increase inflation, going even further down the road of eliminating freedoms like going after birth control, potentially dismantling marriage equality and what makes it possible for a family like mine to exist, eliminating the Department of Education, just one extreme policy after another. That's already the road that they were on during the first Trump administration, but would be, I think, that much more radical during a second.
And wrapping up here, Mr. Buttigieg, how do you think New Hampshire Democrats handled the situation with the primary? Obviously, you were a big participant in 2020. It was a different primary in 2024. How do you think that was handled by New Hampshire Democrats?
Well, I think New Hampshire Democrats did a remarkable job under very complicated and challenging circumstances of demonstrating their strength as Democrats, their belief in the future of this party. And I think that earned an enormous amount of goodwill among leaders in the Democratic Party nationally.
What about the primary's future? What do you think?
I know every few years this comes up. It's beyond me to know all of the different things that may happen in the years to come. But what I do know is that what I learned on the ground in New Hampshire, one community at a time, is the importance of the politics of reaching out, not through television only, not through the internet only, but in looking people in the eye, listening to them one at a time. And I hope that that is a style of politics that continues to be a huge part of how we select our leaders in this country.